if I wanted to maximize my short-term money, I would definitely go all in on info products, because that was like a clear path for me to scale to like 200, 300K a month. The realistic answer is that the next 5 to 7 years minimum is going to be human plus agents working together. Everything is going to be basically usage-based as the economy is more effective. People say like, oh, I would never put something into my brain. Well, guess what? Like, people who put something into their brain are going to be 10,000 times more productive, right? My prediction would be that we see tons of progress, but it's going to be in less domains until there is some new breakthrough, I think. Nobody knows what will happen once AGI and Singularity is here, but I felt like a right directional bet would be becoming as good as possible at AI. My name is Ondrej. I'm an entrepreneur from Czech Republic, and I'm the founder of vectal.ai, and I'm also known for my YouTube channel, Ondrej.
All right, David, it's incredible to have you here. Been hearing so much about your various world travels, and you're just absolutely killing it, and just wanted to know a little bit more about it, find out a little bit more about you. To people that are not familiar, I mean, you started at first just doing YouTube videos. Then all of a sudden I see you with Mr. Hormozi, Alex Hormozi, right? Flying over to Vegas. You started in the Czech Republic. Now you're all over the world, Dubai, Czech Republic. I guess you were in Vegas briefly. So tell us a little bit about, like, where'd you start and how did you do all the insane stuff that you're doing now?
So how far back do you want to go? Do you want to go to like my first business or even further back?
Let's mainly focus on this. I'd love to hear the backstory, but let's start with the AI.
So I was doing YouTube before AI, and then in like when ChatGPT came out, that was really the moment. Actually, I had a friend that was interested in neural networks in like probably 2020, so before ChatGPT, but it didn't really occur to me how big it is. I remember watching a video when GPT-3 came out, which I guess was like summer of 2020 in the API. And I was like, oh, this is cool, but it didn't really connect the dots for me that this is going to be huge. But after ChatGPT, kind of everybody understood like this is going to be world-changing technology. And every single day I legit kept thinking like, I need to be in AI. So I was doing like gaming content. I had a different YouTube channel. I was like, I need to be in AI. I cannot just be like using it. I need to be in it. I need to be doing it every day. And then in April of 2023, I made the decision. I actually took a week off. I flew to Denmark, to Copenhagen, didn't work for a week. I did like a think week. And I was like, listen, I sooner or later, I'll have to do the switch. So I just dropped everything. And I was, at that time, I was like 20 years old, and I was making around $20,000 a month from the gaming channel. And my income went basically to like from 20K to like $600 a month. So my income completely plummeted after switching to AI. But obviously in hindsight, it was the right move. And I just knew like I had to be in the industry. So yeah, April 2023 is first when I fully committed and started uploading on my David Ondrej channel.
Absolutely. And then go ahead, Dylan.
No, you're right.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I thought you had a question. Yeah, it was incredible watching you because, dude, you move so fast. I mean, with the AI channel, all of a sudden you're on school, just like dominating the leaderboards. Oh, I see your face on Alex Hormozi's channel. Tell us a little bit about that. Why did you decide to, I mean, start a course is pretty obvious, but like, tell us a little bit more about Alex Hormozi and how did you decide to go that route?
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching Hormozi for a while, like since he had like probably like 50,000 subscribers. And when he made this cool acquisition, he announced it first on Instagram, and then it was like January 2023. And that was before the first school games. So I was like, okay, this is my opportunity, because for the first 10 months of my YouTube channel, I didn't have any product and I didn't do any brand deals. So I was literally only living off by YouTube AdSense, which again was like fluctuating between $600 a month and $1,000 a month, which really is not enough to live on. So I was living from my savings basically. And that was like, I was like, okay, that could be a product. Back then, nobody did AI communities. Like now I feel everybody has one. But I was like, okay, this is an interesting platform. It kind of simplifies everything. It also like tells you what the delivery would be, you know, community with the classroom. There's some tutorials, some workshops, plus some weekly calls. So they kind of tell you what you should do as a creator. And that was huge. You know, they simplified it a lot. And I was like, okay, I want to compete in the school games. The first month I didn't win. I was like, okay, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep scaling. And the second month I managed to land in the top 10. And that was, you know, the Vegas event in the next month.
Oh man, that's absolutely incredible. So for people that don't know the school game, so school, I think Alex Hormozi either started or he invested in, I think, and he came in there and he started. Yeah. And it's basically a place for people to start communities slash courses, kind of like an educational environment. And basically the people that have the most sort of momentum as they're starting up climb the leaderboards in this kind of behind the scenes, you know, creator sort of classroom that everybody shares and has these masterminds where they talk about what they're doing. And this guy comes out of nowhere, just rockets to the top, which was just
Yeah,
absolutely incredible to see. Um, so that happens.
yeah,
I feel like at this point, most people have been like, all right, like overwhelming success. I'm done. I got to slow down. You don't stop. You launch a freaking startup. Like, tell us,
yeah. I
what are
mean,
you
that was a bit
taking, man?
later.
First of all,
Well, I don't know. Like in my head, I guess my brain doesn't work like that. Like I don't think I've been overwhelmingly successful even at my age. Like for example, the other day I've seen an interview with the CEO of Mercor, which is like a AI data labeling company, and he's like 22, and they're doing 500 million a year. So they're valued at 10 billion, and he's 22. So like I
Yeah,
feel
the
like
hedonic
it's
treadmill.
yeah. I feel like in life it's important to it's important what people you compare yourself to, right? Like if you always look at the guy on the street and it's like, oh, I'm doing better than the average guy, I'm in better shape than the average guy. You don't want to like compare yourself to the average person, right? You want to compare yourself to people who are doing better than you ideally. So even after like winning the school games, I didn't see myself as successful at all. Like it's just I don't know. My brain doesn't work like that. I don't see like, oh, now let's celebrate. I always look at the next thing and just I see it more as a one continuous process. So I started the startup in well, it's hard to pinpoint when I started because the first 30 days I just spent brainstorming ideas and like what are different problems in that AI could be used for. And after 30 days, I chose the one that I thought had the most belief, and that's ended up being Vectal. And then 3.5 months I was building it myself until I hired some devs. But I guess I started working on it probably like late October of 2024. So
gotcha.
Can you
yeah.
can you break down that 3 months a bit more? Like, what were some of the ideas that you threw away? But even more important, like, what is the process you're using to figure out where AI fits into the future?
Well, I wouldn't claim I have it figured out. Like I would say like maybe once we're at like 100k MRR, maybe then I can say we figured it out or something. Maybe at that point I'll still feel like we didn't. But basically, for the first 30 days, I just brainstormed different problems and then solutions to them. So I brainstormed like software related problems that I have, and also like did the research on what my audience has, some issues like just general, like trying to think where AI is useful, what it's good at, what it's bad at, and trying to brainstorm as many startup ideas. Because before committing to something, I guess it depends. Like a lot of people just want to do a startup to make some quick money and like sell it or something like that. But I knew this is want to be like a long-term play, right? Maybe like a 10-year play, and I didn't do it with the goal of selling it. So that's why I spent the 30 days of trying to brainstorm as many ideas as possible, and then chose what I thought was the best one at the end of 30 days. And then the decision to build it myself, actually, that is a very interesting decision because a lot of people in my position and at my income would have just paid someone to build it for me, especially like given how busy I was at that time. But I knew that I wouldn't have a good decision making on whether the engineers are doing a good job and whether the developers are taking too long if I didn't have the technical skills. So I knew that even if it takes longer at the start, I have to build it myself, obviously with AI. So, you know.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. So Vectal AI, what is it? What does it do just for people that may be not familiar with it?
Yeah, it's a task management, AI-powered task management tool. So you can think of it as like something between a Notion, ChatGPT, and NA10. We have some automations, we have all the main task management tools, and we have a powerful AI agent with all of the models.
Gotcha. So where you're from, there's a little bit of a. I mean, I know at least a few people in the AI space that are part of like in the YouTube space that are part of the AI. There's one person you did a few collabs with. I think he's also in the Czech Republic. Kind of also a young guy. I'm blanking on the name, but I mean, were you kind of part of a tech community, or this was just completely learning online, talking to people online?
Definitely learning online. I mean, this wasn't like part of any accelerator or any community. I'm completely bootstrapped. I own it 100%. Yeah, it was my decision. And it was like after thinking of like, okay, do I want to do like high ticket courses? Do I want to do coaching? I was like, I tried it a bit and had pretty good success, like doing coaching for. I think in my first week I sold like 3 people for like 8,000 coaching, and it was usually people who already had like were in my community for a long time and trusted my channel, and these were like action takers, so I knew they would be successful. But I just like I didn't like it, so I just refunded all of them and went all in on building a startup. But my path was like, if I wanted to maximize my short-term money, I would definitely go all in on info products, because that was like a clear path for me to scale to like 200, 300K a month. But I just didn't like it, and I wasn't feeling inspired by the vision. But like building software for me, that was something I knew I could do 10 hours a day.
Yeah, I mean, I had kind of a similar experience because initially I thought, oh, I tried to launch a couple of different communities. I tried a free one at first. That was a little bit of a nightmare just because you can't really quality control free communities.
Absolutely.
Because yeah,
I started for free, by the way.
You started for free initially?
Yeah. My community was free for the first 3 weeks, but the quality of posts was so bad, and like whatever, what you describe as the same experience I had. So then I switched it to 37 a month, and that was like the first time I made money basically outside of AdSense from this YouTube channel. And that really was a great decision, because the moment you start charging, like the level of people just goes up drastically.
Yeah, people invest money. They feel like they've invested money. They tend to, for whatever reason, just better conversations, better investment in the community, everything else. And yeah, I mean, so info products. I think people that want short-term cash, it's a great way, but it's just not. I don't know. If I redo it, I'm going to have to really think about exactly how I'm going to approach it, because it just doesn't seem like. I like what you're doing by building a product that's for the long term. Collecting users. So you said you haven't cracked 100,000 monthly run rate recurring revenue, but you got to be up there. You have what, 50,000 users, or tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So in terms of like total users, we had I think over 60,000, maybe 65,000. Not monthly active, like total that use the product. In terms of like MRR, we're at I think 11.3K. So, growth is slower than I would like, but we're growing. So I guess I cannot complain too much.
Dude, I mean, the fact that you went, I mean, so for people that maybe just not aware, like you were making a lot more with school. So the fact that you're almost like sacrificing short-term money, and keep in mind, this guy isn't from a rich family. This guy wasn't born, was it the expression, silver spoon in his mouth? He's from a small village in the Czech Republic. So to turn down huge sums of money for long-term gain, but meaning like you provide long-term value for long-term gain. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. Dude, I think you're on the right track. How the heck did you manage to have Balaji on the channel? That was pretty incredible. I mean, he seems like a very interesting person to talk to.
I mean, we're just doing an insane amount of reach outs. Really, to get people that successful, you just have to like reach out and follow up and follow up and follow up. So we're doing quite a bit of volume on that. And I think also with people like that, some of them actually follow me, which is quite shocking when I check it and see like follows you. But I think it's because again, this is why I switched to AI, because I understood like people who are important in this world, like they will always want to talk to somebody who's on the cutting edge, right? And it wasn't like a financial switching to AI. It was more like, this is something that matters a lot. I want to make sure I'm at the cutting edge of it. I don't know, like nobody knows what will happen once AGI and Singularity is here, but I felt like a right directional bet would be becoming as good as possible at AI. Trying to be on the cutting edge. I felt like that just cannot go wrong. I didn't have all the answers. I didn't know I'm going to start a startup. I just knew that learning about this and trying to, make connections is the right move.
So what do you think of when you think about how a future has the opportunity to pay for intelligence? I mean, there should be in all aspects of what you're doing some kind of AI soon that does everything better. How are you kind of delegating or planning to delegate as intelligence becomes more ubiquitous and cheap?
So I think people over-exaggerate either that AGI will replace all jobs, or they over-exaggerate that AI is not that useful and it's just predicting the next token and stuff like that. I think the realistic answer is that the next 5 to 7 years minimum is going to be human plus agents working together. The agents are going to do the repetitive processes that are kind of safe, and but you can think of it as a company of SOPs. If you can hire an intern and you have a good SOP, standard operating procedure, and you can give it to that intern and he can do it, probably you can do the same with agent, right? For example, McDonald's has really good like templates and franchises. Obviously, it's physical, so it would be more a humanoid robot rather than an AI agent. But McDonald's are probably the best in the world at taking like an unskilled human and making him productive very fast. If your company has a lot of these SOPs, templates, playbooks that are just a series of steps that are repetitive and predictable and safe, then you can definitely do that with AI agents. So what humans will do, again, it's kind of pointless talking about past singularity because nobody knows what one super intelligence is here. But the next 5-7 years, it's very obvious that it will be humans plus agents, where the humans are designing different workflows of agents and just like improving them, overseeing them, and the agents are doing all the repetitive stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when this whole thing started taking off, there was a lot of sort of people were guessing how quickly we're going to get to the singularity or AGI, or whatever you want to call it, that sort of point where human innovation, human ingenuity is not going to be as important but you know what? It does seem like we have some time. It's not going to be right around the corner.
Yeah.
It's not next year. We've got, like you said, I think you said 5 to 7 years of where humans and agents are working together. And to me, that's kind of exciting. We have time to really learn this technology, to use it. It's not like snap your fingers and it's gone. So I'm extremely excited about the next decade or so. One thing that recently happened, so we're recording this today is September 18th. Yesterday, or actually the day before that, Google announces that they're working with Coinbase to create, well, Google is actually building out their own agent marketplace and their own agent payment system. Have you looked at that at all? Because that seems like a massive shift that's happening. Like as everything gets replaced by these agentic systems, anybody can build them. Are you looking at that? Are you interested in that at all?
I haven't looked at this specific one, but I've seen like headlines around the payments for agents, and I think it's definitely going to happen because microtransactions, like everything is going to be basically usage based as the economy is more effective. Right? Like if you're paying $200 a month for a plan, but you use it only like 3 days of the month, but you still want what the plan has to offer, it kind of isn't efficient, right? So I think having the current banking system doesn't work for this. The banking system is very slow, only works 5 days of the week, certain hours, takes like, if you send to a different country, it takes like a week for that transaction to clear. Crypto, like there's much better solutions, right? You can look for like altcoins, but even just like Bitcoin and the Lightning layer, you can send like transactions in a matter of milliseconds, and it works 24/7, 7 days of the week. No pauses, no approvals for anything. So you can just give like your agent $5 worth of Bitcoin, and the agent will just go around the web. And if some site has like, this site has proprietary data, it enters $0.03 to access. The agent can make that small transaction, but you cannot do this with bank. You cannot do this with a credit card because the fees would eat that. Even Stripe or PayPal would eat that fees so hard. So you cannot do like a $0.03 payment anywhere, or even smaller than that, maybe like 0.003. But you can easily do that on the Lightning layer with Bitcoin. So I think agents will have to make their payments very soon.
Yeah.
I know. I don't know if you dived into microtransactions and how that alone can change the world, like even regardless of AI, just the fact that we could have such different automated systems working at such low rates without those fees would totally change the economy, makes it so much more liquid.
Absolutely. I mean, I think like it's kind of crazy we're still using banks. Like we have the technology here, like
No.
I'm paying my employees, it takes them multiple days to arrive. Like why am I getting permission from a bank? Why can't I just send on the blockchain payment and it's like within seconds, no middleman, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And so where do you fall on the idea of the agents actually having control of decisions and of money? Like, do you think autonomous agents should be able to get their own bank accounts, or would you always want someone like you, a human, to approve the money and sort of be in control of it?
I mean, depends on the time frame. Like if you're talking about today, then, probably not. But even today, I probably wouldn't mind giving an agent like $50. And like, again, like what's the worst that can happen? It can waste the $50. So, but if you're talking like 5 years from now, I think there'll be like protocols, there'll be ways how you like get a two authentication notification. Maybe if the transaction is over $10, it needs approval from a human. I think there'll be ways to figure it out. So I wouldn't be like scared about giving agents access to money. And I think the human, like in terms of decision making, I think that's the job of the human. I think this is actually one of the most common mistakes people make with AI. whether it is like building their own startup or just in general, trying to delegate important decisions to AI. That's like terrible. AI is great at, giving you like the mainstream narrative. So if you want to live an average life, that's an excellent strategy. But AI is never going to tell you like how to achieve greatness. You have to always stay in charge and like make the decisions, trust your own judgment, refine your own taste. And if there is like a creative idea that's required, you need to use your own brain rather than asking AI. So like decision making, that's something I would not outsource to AI.
Okay, so I think you probably did answer my next question with that comment, but just to be sure, like the idea of the agent filing its own taxes and not being responsible for giving you your money back, you're probably not into that. Just you want to make sure you stay in. Oh, okay. So
because filing taxes is very safe. Like it's a repeatable process. There's plenty of information and courses online how to properly file taxes, right? So it's not like something where they have to pull off a unique trick. Now it's probably not going to do like some crazy tax loophole, but it would file your taxes in a proper standard way. And I think, again, like maybe in the first few years we'll have double checking from humans, but I would gladly replace all of my tax advisors with AI agents, happily.
Yeah, and I mean with the marketplaces, I mean one of the things that Google was giving an example of is like if you have an HR agent, somebody that does background checks, you can have tax accountant agents or whatever that all do stuff on your behalf. It doesn't have to be necessarily that you're doing everything yourself in-house or build your own kind of bespoke agent, your specific agent for every single thing. You just go on the marketplace, and like you said, for micropayments, yeah, it could be very, very inexpensive. Somebody else's agent is doing 10,000 tax returns for something cheap, and they guarantee it. If there's a problem, then their CPA steps in to like check it out or whatever. So
that's the answer, to be honest.
Yeah. So I guess the next best big thing we could talk about is this whole idea of vibe coding. A lot of people have different opinions on it. Some people are like, oh, it's horrible. It's a joke. A lot of people have a lot of derision towards it. But I mean, a lot of people the new codex, the GPT-5 codex came out. I've been messing around with it. Where do you see this whole thing going? Is there a future to vibe coding?
Well, I mean, I would say like I have easily over 1,000 hours vibe coding. Because since I started building my startup, I was building it with AI. Back then it was Claude 3.5 Sonnet. That was the best model at the time. And literally since day one, I was using AI to, advise me on like what tech stack should I use. And then I checked it. Okay, this makes sense. Or like, write the front end. Like I wasn't a professional developer. I want to make that very clear. I never built a full stack app before. I knew the basics of programming. I did some like, when I was 15, I built like a mobile app with, just following YouTube tutorials. It's a mobile game. Then when I was like a bit older, I did some like Minecraft plugins in Java, but I wasn't like a genius prodigy. I was like quite the opposite. It took me forever to learn the basics. I couldn't understand what variables meant for the longest time. So I knew like fundamentals of programming, but AI wrote basically all the code. So in terms of vibe coding, I was doing it since it was named vibe coding. And I would say right now, I see it split into two things. I see like one is like vibe coding where you see like people typing only English with no thought. And then I would see like AI programming. And I think these are becoming completely separate because there is like way more serious software in the AI coding, AI programming side, which like people use to actually ship production code. And then vibe coding is like someone who has zero knowledge of what they're doing. They just type in English. Sometimes it doesn't even make sense what they're doing. They don't know any prompt engineering, nothing like that. And they're just like, YOLOing it completely. So I think these two are becoming more and more separate, but I think there's use in both. Like I wouldn't say like I wouldn't prevent a non-programmer to build their own website. I think there's a great power in the fact that even like a 60-year-old aunt with zero experience can speak English and see a new website.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think that's a great way of putting it. That you got to think of it as two separate things. One is vibe coding, one is AI programming, and the sort of professional developers, they're going to be doing AI programming, right? They're going to be doing programming, software engineering with the assistance of AI. But guess what? The kids now can start building apps. People that have no technical background can start building apps. So it sounds like you built your first prototype for your company that's doing very well now, basically by yourself with quote unquote vibe coding. So you went from 0 to 1, you got your first users on board without a professional developer hired. Would that have been possible 5 years ago?
Oh, well, it would have, but it would take way longer. So like, when I was 15, like before my first business, I did the mobile app. It didn't make any money. So that's why I don't call it my first business. But that took me like 10 months to just like learn the basics, watch tutorials, like debug it, Google everything. Every bug took forever to fix and test out. So that was before AI. So I knew what it was like coding before AI, and it's like way slower. So yeah, like Vectal took me 2 months from first line of code to launched. It probably would have taken like minimum 6 to 8 months without AI, minimum. So it would have been possible, but just like way longer.
Yeah. That's absolutely incredible. I think people are sleeping on this. They have their sort of pre-existing ideas, but the world is changing. And people don't understand this idea. Like going from 0 to 1 used to be hard and slow. Now it's fast, and I don't want to say easy, but man, it's a lot more possible.
Yeah, but you can actually build something to get feedback from. When they talk about like a minimal viable product, like something you can give to someone to see if you were right about your prediction on if it was useful or not to them.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Like Andrew Ng said this really well. He did the Y Combinator speech. You know, people they look at like senior developers speed up, or like AI is making developers 20% faster, 30% faster. But those are like senior developers who are already fast. They already know what to do, and they're working on like serious production code that has to be proper. If you're building an MVP, AI makes you probably 20x faster, minimum. Like you can just type in a single prompt and see a website, boom, and like change something, add a new feature. And you don't have to worry about security or structure of the code base. You're just trying to prove your idea. Now, obviously, before you scale it and release it to paying users, you want to add authentication, proper security, everything. But you can validate the idea or invalidate the idea much faster. So that is where the biggest gains are.
Yeah, absolutely. This is absolutely true, and I think a lot of people don't. It sounds simple, but people don't grasp this idea. We just opened up worldwide creativity. You know what I mean? Everybody can. Yeah, it's a game changer. We just haven't quite seen it, the wave hit, but it will.
It's almost like the term should be called like rapid experimentation or something, or like, you know what I mean? It's like vibe coding almost gives it the wrong kind of tone when you're not already a senior developer.
Yeah, I feel like that was good for the first month or 2 months when it came out, and then it started quickly getting negative connotation. Like once people started shipping apps with complete, security issues and stuff like that. Like when I was very aware of my deficiencies, and before I like scaled it, I did consulting with like developers. So I like paid people like $200 an hour, $300 an hour to like tell me what's wrong, look at my code. Some of them were able to spot security issues with like matter of minutes. So people have to be smart. Like if you are not developer, you probably have to get someone to like check the most important stuff, even if you're using AI to build fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
What form factor do you think we sort of move towards? Zuckerberg's been pushing sort of the glasses and the AR experience, and it seems like other people. Yeah, and other people seem to believe it's sort of an all audio situation, more like a Star Trek, just talk.
Glasses. I'm a big believer in glasses. I don't have them. I tried buying them in like, I don't know, they didn't ship to Czech Republic, they didn't ship to Dubai, so I don't have them. But I think it's definitely glasses because it's the same inputs as the humans, right? It can see what you see and it can hear what you hear, and the LLM can speak in a way where like people basically around you cannot hear it. It's not as good as having like, headphones or AirPods, but it will be audible, and it'll be capable of running a small local model or connecting, via internet to a bigger model. So I think glasses absolutely are the next smartphone.
Yeah, I believe it. And just in the last few days, we saw the new Meta glasses that came out. People are saying that you're able to see a very bright display, but nobody else can. You can't even capture it on camera. And it's not even augmented reality yet, to where it interacts with the world, so to speak. It's just a sort of a display, and you move your fingers to control it. I am interested in getting those. They're expensive. I think close to $1,000 here, but I think that technology is going to get started, just like everything else. You got the first adopters paying the premium funding, the mass produced stuff that happens every single time. So pretty soon, once they get to a few $100, everybody's going to be wearing them, and it's going to be interesting because all of them have cameras on it. So it's like, there's a lot of places where somebody walks through with glasses. You're like, hey, buddy, don't look at me.
But on the other side, I would say like every city has cameras everywhere. So it's like I almost care less if like some stranger has footage on me than the government. Like I don't like government having CCTV everywhere. Like if some stranger captures, like it literally happened to me a few days ago. I was biking through a forest like in the evening, and there was some like 70-year-old guy probably like doing some mushroom hunting, and he's like the old button phone, like the generation before smartphones, and he just like took a 2-second video of me and then put his phone down. I was like, what is this? You know?
Yeah.
But I know he cannot do anything with that. But I'm much more worried like about government surveillance. So like if people have glasses that can record, like so what?
Yeah, would you prefer it all be open source, like LLMs we can all control? Then yeah.
Same with Neuralink.
Yeah.
I think like people say like, oh, I would never put something into my brain. Well, guess what? Like people who put something into their brain are going to be 10,000 times more productive, right? So then you're going to just fall behind so rapidly. Well, the answer is open source protocol. If it's something that like 1 million developers across the globe can look at and see like this is safe, there is no backdoor, it's like cryptographically proof, then yeah, I would probably do that, right? Obviously not the first version or second version where it's untested, but like once it's safe, I think same thing here. It has to be open source, absolutely.
Yeah. Are you planning to come to any of the sort of US based or any tech conferences? Like, what are you looking at? Dubai is getting pretty big. I've never visited, but I want to. I mean, kind of what does that look like for you?
Well, I was in New York like 2 weeks ago for the N810 event.
Okay.
So they were launching their New York office, so that was great. Shout out to the team at N810. Dubai is growing for sure. I think Dubai has like very split in terms of people there. You know, there's like a lot of people from crypto, a lot of people, there's content creators, a lot of people doing info products, a lot of people doing sales. AI is still kind of untapped. I know like maybe like 4 or 5 people that do AI, but I feel like the AI community there is growing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What are the so like if you go back in time, what do you think the skills are today that people should be learning? I mean, would you? I don't know.
I mean, look, I'm just gonna answer myself. Like, I'm trying to become a crack developer. So I have this book, you know, this famous book, designing data-intensive applications. I'm trying to like improve my tech skills because I feel like you know it's a complete myth. Like, oh, you shouldn't learn how to code. Like, if you know how to code, you can just move way faster with way more confidence. Like you know how to review what the code the AI wrote, right? So I'm trying to upskill myself technically as much as possible. But I would say like if someone is in sales, they should be using the best reasoning models to get better at sales, right? Like Sam Altman tweeted this, I think, a few months back, and I think he was half trolling and half serious. But he said like, if you're not spending 3 hours a day skill maxing with O3, you're not gonna make it. And I absolutely agree. Maybe it's like 60 minutes a day, maybe it's 2 hours. But if you're not trying to heavily push every single day your skill set, whatever you're trying to do, if you're trying to be a great marketer, do that with marketing. If you're trying to be a developer, do that with code. Doesn't matter. But you can just learn so much faster with AI now. It's insane.
Yeah, that's true. So like for me, I know that so O3 Pro came out not that long ago. Now it's GPT-5 Pro.
Yeah.
So specifically like that research grade intelligence, like if that got taken away from me now, I would be in trouble. Like I would feel it. I'm at a point in my life where like I need that technology because now I'm not, used to be, you have some idea that you need to research that would take dozens of YouTube searches, YouTube video, or, Google searches, YouTube videos, etc. Now I just put it in there and it will take whatever 5 to 10 minutes, whatever, but it comes back and boom, you have like really good information. Every once in a while, I find that it messes up and just sort of leads me astray a little bit, but that's usually where there's just not a lot of data online.
Yeah.
For good, if you give it enough context, there's a lot of context. It just like chews through it. It just presents you like the final. It's beautiful. I love it.
You know, it's funny when you said that. That's the first time I realized that. I think the way if I don't have my cell phone, if I realize I like left it in the car or something, and I kind of like stress out because nobody can contact me. I think now if ChatGPT was gone, if no large language models, no like nothing for the next 2 weeks, I'd get that same feeling. So that's how I know I think I'm addicted now, or it's part of my life in a deeper way.
Yeah, deep research, it's huge, Like,
oh, yeah.
Anytime I want to solve a problem, I just like open up, boom, Perplexity deep research, Claude deep research, ChatGPT deep research, Grok deep research. I just like I solve the problem like 10 times faster than before. Before I would have to go on YouTube, watch a tutorial. Okay, this wasn't relevant. Watch another tutorial. Like now, thanks to deep research, you can just move so fast.
What do you think about the thoughts that there could be a single person with $1 billion company in the next couple of years? I mean, do you think?
Possible.
Okay, you think we might see if you had to?
I mean, thinking from first principles, like why not? It's like there is no mathematical or physical law preventing that.
I'm betting that, well, so we have to see how these agent marketplaces start developing, because we'll see. And we're going to see it within the next few months. But I think that Google saw the whole thing ahead of time, because just like now we go to Amazon, we go to Google, we go to these places to find our goods and services, and all this stuff eventually is going to be replaced by everyone having their own agents that go out there on our behalf. Just like right now, when I type in a GPT-5 Pro thing, it goes out there. My agent goes out there, searches all the websites. In the future, it's also going to be, booking tickets and doing my taxes and interacting with the agents. The people that jump on board early for these, because I've been kind of in the .com space for a while, and like the early movers tend to win. So the people that started in SEO before anybody knew what SEO meant dominated. Facebook ads, same thing. Amazon, same thing. I would not be surprised if within the first year of these agentic marketplaces going live, somebody with probably something pretty simple really just blows up. Maybe not $1 billion valuation, but I mean, you can make millions, tens of millions, maybe 100 million with some simple agents that just capture the space first.
Can you like walk me through what does it look like? I mean, if your like garbage disposal doesn't work, do you think you take a photo of it and then the agent like figures out you need a plumber and then compares prices and then schedules it for you?
Well, so the specific Google example that they gave is like, let's say you're hiring, right? You have a number of HR agents, right? So some of them go through the resume to figure out if they match your job. Some of them might do an interview, maybe kind of a back and forth. Some of them are in charge of doing background checks. So for this point, they go online and look for the agents that do background checks. And for example, they find, okay, this one agent, Agent X, is the best at US-based background checks, and Agent Y is the best at international background checks. So they send the applicants that are US-based to the US-based agent, and the international to the international. That's somebody else's company. That's somebody else's agent. They do the background check. They charge them, whether that's on the crypto layer, like we were talking about, with those microtransactions, or whatever fee they charge. Because again, no human involved. The cost is super, super low. So, I mean, it's like either it could be very inexpensive. Then that agent gets the report back and flags anything for you, right? So the human sits there and he just sees like background check in progress, and then like a week later or whatever, it's like, okay, all good. That's all you see as the human. But behind the scenes, all the agents are interacting, because a lot of this is sort of automated.
Wow.
So what was your question? I always forget.
No, that was it. Yeah, I just wanted some examples. Usually, David, like, how do you imagine it playing out?
Yeah,
like,
well, that was actually, my next question. Like, where's the power, like, for those things? Like, do you have an example of somebody? Because, I mean, you talk to a lot of people in your community that have business sort of minds.
Well, I can give the same example, like the hiring, right? Like, what you said is probably more advanced, but with the hiring, you can literally do this in a matter of 10 minutes if you know how to use NA10. Like, all it takes is a Google Sheet, right? You're collecting applicants for a job, and then each time a new row is added, you do an open router call to Perplexity Deep Research about that person, and you load the context with, you ask them, provide your LinkedIn, provide your previous job experience, tell me, like, why I should hire you. And you depending on the job, obviously you ask some questions, and then you have the AI agent do deep research, check if they actually work at that company. Is there any like criminal record of that person? Is there any controversies about that person? And you also have a separate agent that's a powerful reasoning model, like validate their answers and against the job. Like, you would do a deep research. What does a world-class candidate for this role look like? And then the AI agent compares that against that specific person. And before you even start doing any interviews, you come into your Google Sheet and you already have this person, 7 out of 10, fits well, but doesn't have that many years of experience. This person, 2 out of 10, the company he worked at never listed him, and he's probably lying because of this or that. This person, 10 out of 10, he fits the job description exactly, blah, 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 blah. Like, right now, people can just build this like deep research automation. It's not even an agent that would save them so much time hiring. And this, like, every company that's hiring, if they deployed this, they would save tens of thousands of dollars probably. And it's something that people can build in 10 minutes in NA10.
Wow. Yeah, that's with today's technology. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like it's all going so quickly. So I'm trying to just project out what even a year or two looks like. And especially for a company that wants to scale to $1 billion, like they would have to have so many agents deployed.
I
And
think
then
it's
also like
specializing.
agents, marketing for agents to make sure that they get hired by other agents and their scores stay high. Like it'll just be sort of wild. I wonder if it'll just be like a compute game.
I think it's going to be specializing game. Like basically a year ago or maybe, a year and a half ago, I was making videos on everything in AI because it was still possible to kind of keep up, right? Now it's not possible to keep up. Now, like I'm not making any videos on like video models or, I mean, I made one on Nano Banana, that's an image model, but basically I stick to my lane, which is like AI coding, right? And technical stuff. And I think it just becomes more specialized as there is more thing. Like it's even impossible to keep up with AI coding, right? There's like so many tools every single day. Like literally, you mentioned the GPT-5 codex, right? Just came out. Obviously, I tried that, but like there's so many tools I still want to try that I literally don't have time to try. And I think it's just gonna be hyper specialized. Like every person is like, okay, one person picks, AI video, one person picks like AI for doctors, one person picks AI for lawyers, and there's gonna be people who are hyper specialized, which is why I don't believe there's like, death of SaaS, because if someone is hyper specialized in something, they can build a great SaaS and price it fairly, whether monthly or usage based, and make a really great agent for taxes rather than me who has zero experience filing taxes. I wouldn't try to vibe code my own agent. I would pay someone who has 10,000 hours in, tax filings or whatever,
Right.
who build that agent.
Mhm.
That's the way to do it. So I think it's going to be hyper specialized. Everybody's going to be locked in on their thing they like.
Dude, there's probably going to be a whole new insurance for agents too, like for the
Probably,
companies that do have a bunch of agents deploying taxes, and then there'll be like all these specialized insurance companies that are like going to pop up and have technical knowledge. That'll be like a whole nother vertical I hadn't thought about till now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot of for some people, boring business stuff. I mean, we all get super excited about it. That's kind of our part of the excitement. But let's get into some crazy subjects. This is the second hour, this is the second half of the interview. So, I mean, what are your craziest AI theories or projections? Yeah. What
Craziest. Okay.
I mean, you've mentioned the singularity too, so it sounds like you have. It sounds like you think 7 years is kind of like when it hits and like things really, really, really change for humans.
I wouldn't say 7 years. I said 5 to 7 years is like when I'm certain like what the future, not certain, but like I think again 5 to 7 years we're probably still going to be working humans and agents. I wouldn't say 7 years until singularity. I'm probably closer to 20 years until superintelligence. Like just being more in the field and seeing how AI works. I feel like it's easy. Like I feel like 2023, everybody was kind of maximum hype. Everybody was new to this, trying to understand it. And also we have to be careful because when listening to the CEOs, which usually are the most popular people, most influential people in the AI industry, right? Sam Altman, Dario Amodei, Elon Musk. These guys have the most interest in overhyping the technology. They have literally tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions, on the line for the AI hype to continue. So we have to realize this, and we have to realize, okay, what are people's incentives? Their incentives is to overhype it as much as possible. AI is going to replace all jobs. AI is going to, create $100 trillion windfall to raise another round of funding, to get more money from investors and to keep the stock market hype going. So we have to be careful listening to the people who have the most incentive to overhype. But I would say, like, I still believe in technological progress. And again, I don't see any reason why AI wouldn't become generally intelligent in the future, better than humans at all things. So I think it is going to happen, but not as fast as some of these tech CEOs make it seem.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, just a couple of days ago, Demis Hassabis was saying how, LLMs aren't obviously AGI, they're not PhD level anything. We need a couple different breakthroughs to get there, like continuous learning. I mean, LLM models are static. There's a few papers that were published about how that might change, but at this time, they're not able to sort of rewire their weights, so to speak. And then also, like the in-context learning isn't as advanced as we want it to be. So as powerful as they are, they're not quite like human minds yet. But there's tons of stuff they can still do. But he's saying 5 to 7 years until we get to that PhD level, general sort of AGI intelligence. No, sorry, he said 5 to 10 years. But yeah,
I think we need a new breakthrough. Like I don't see LLMs getting us there, to be honest, because like there are sequence models, they're predicting the next token, and if you look at, like, I was reading a book about Isaac Newton, right? And how he invented a lot of the stuff that he invented and came up with these original thoughts. And he like gave some formula that if you want to solve a problem, you have to like look at a blank piece of paper. Like he had like infinite patience basically. And he also did like calculations to like 55 decimal points on paper. You know, he invented calculus. So this is like something that LLMs, they've been around for like what, 2.5 years now, almost 3 years. They haven't invented anything. Like not even like a small breakthrough in, you know, physics or biology, chemistry. I'm not talking about like world-changing technology. I'm talking about like some small discovery, and they haven't been able to do that at all. And if you took any human, right, this is not my idea. I've heard it in a podcast, but like if you took any human and you gave him like 1/1,000,000th of the amount of tokens that these models have, that human would be like full with Nobel Prizes, right? Humans are like, human brain is much better at generalizing and creating ideas than LLMs. So I really think there needs to be some new breakthrough on the architecture level before we see like any real AGI progress.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd be very curious to see what the next sort of evolution with the sort of reinforcement learning that they're doing, where they're scaling it up and having it self-play, having that whole alpha zero kind of approach. Because like with Grok, we're seeing some very interesting things, and that's, I think, because Elon just has access to massive amounts of compute to throw at the sort of the reinforcement learning. So that's interesting, but man, I feel like if we don't see too much progress there, then it's like, all right, it's going to plateau out a little bit. Yeah.
Well, the progress, I think, will be concentrated. If you look at, you know, we've seen the gold Olympiad in math. We've seen like crazy programming progress. Why? Because those are verifiable, right? You can have the AI run 500 times, completely experimental each time, and see like, okay, in one of these times, the code ran without errors, right? You cannot do that with creative writing or even like sales or marketing. There's no right answer for what a marketing campaign should look like. But with code, if it runs, right? With math, if the proof is valid, the math is correct. So you can use synthetic data and you can use like experimentation way more aggressively. So my prediction would be that we see tons of progress, but it's going to be in less domains until there is some new breakthrough, I think.
But here's the question, like, you know, for machine learning advancement, machine learning sort of progress, AI progress, most of it is code and math. So most of what these people do to advance the field forward is code and math. You think it's possible that LLMs alone could get to the point where they add some sort of a recursive self-improvement, kind of start that process, kick off that process? Or you think there's no way?
Well, it is possible. Like, I absolutely believe it's possible. But like, again, what time zone or timelines are we talking about? I think if we talk about like 5 years, I think it's much more likely researchers plus these models, which already is happening, obviously.
Yeah.
But that will just be way more powerful where you have a researcher that is the person like trying to think of these unique analogies. Like I was listening to a person who described how working with Jeff Hinton was, which is, you know, he's one of the OGs, the godfather of AI. And he, like, his way of doing research is like trying to make analogies to like animals or, you know, household objects and trying to like kind of play with the ideas and experiment with them in his head. It's not like doing math equations on a, you know, blackboard, how people think. So this is what the LLMs cannot do yet. I definitely think it's possible, right? But if I have to say like the next 5 years, which again, there's going to be tremendous progress in the next 5 years. I don't want to make it seem that there isn't. There's massive progress every single month. But if I had to say like what the future looks like in the next 5 years, I think it's human experts, researchers working with the models to do research. If you say 20 years or even 15 years, maybe it is the self-improving AI.
Yeah.
Like what happens when you just put like 24 hours in a row of an AI just solving a coding problem? Like why doesn't it get there? And like what does a human need to step in for?
It's all the context like outside of it. Like humans, we don't understand how much context we have, right? We understand how the world works. We understand like social dynamics. A lot of this is not even on the internet. A lot of this is like not even described. When you join a new company as an intern, nobody tells you like, listen, this is the CEO, have some respect for him. You kind of understand it instinctually, right? This person is more powerful than me. He has power over me. I should listen to what he does. This is not like described in text on the internet. Same with physics. No one is describing like, if you throw a phone across the room, it hits the wall and it destroys. The amount of tokens on the web describing this physical interaction that even a 5-year-old understands is so little. So this is the limitation of the current data. because humans, they're literally like trained since the beginning on so many input tokens. Like a child, people think children are not doing anything. They think, oh, I remember being a kid, I wasn't productive. That's not the case. Kids are insanely productive. They're like fine tuning their brain, their neural network every single day, right? Think about the kid from like 0 to 3 years old. They spawn with like no information, nothing. I mean, obviously there's something in our DNA, some like, fear of snakes or something like that, but very little understanding of the world. But they learn all the physics, they learn social dynamics, right? This human is bigger than me. I should probably be scared. I shouldn't bite that human. This is not written on the web in text form, so the LLMs don't understand it. So when you give them a coding task, they don't understand like the role of them in the company, or what the company is doing, or the vision of the company, or the current trends that are happening. All of the like intuitive stuff that a human perfectly understands, LLM doesn't.
Yeah. And we've actually seen some brand new architectures where that learning happens. It's not LLMs, it's something else, but where that happens so much faster with so much less sort of sample size, they say, right? So for LLMs, you got to get a lot of sort of examples. There are faster ways to pick that up, and it's usually done through some sort of predictive thing.
So like going back to, because you had that example before where I could like put the spreadsheet together for you and like do these searches, but I guess the future of that would look more like maybe a whole physical world where some kind of future agent actually learned emotional skills and learned how to like read eyes and understand who trustworthy people are, and it would start adding that kind of context to the future of that spreadsheet.
Yeah, I mean, when you have like, Optimus is releasing the Optimus 3, which is a humanoid robot from Tesla, I think that's going to unlock a whole new level of what's possible, because again, you can have the robot experiment in real physical space and test different things, right? Maybe like a chemist would test different compounds together and see what happens. So I think that's going to unlock a whole new level of AI progress for sure. The question is like how much of the intuition is in our DNA? I think that's still not answered. How much of the biological human brain is the magic? Because there is like, you can take a single human and see him or her evolve over time and learn over time. But evolution is also like a long-term training process, right? And that, I think, is going to be the harder puzzle to crack.
Yeah, it's wild because if you imagine an Optimus robot sitting in a boardroom and it tries to glaze the CEO, and the CEO's like trying too hard, or people give it a look and it's like, I'm going to remember I screwed up with that glazing or that comment or that.
For sure.
But then it's going to go up to the cloud and it's going to teach all the other Optimus robots, like, hey, by the way, like, here's a better way to like suck up to the CEO if you want to get what you want, It's just all that information has to be collected and like kind of learned.
People have our own like personal agents protecting us. Like when we get to that point, it will not be that, someone has an AI agent. Like if you're in a CEO in a board meeting, you will have your own series of agents that are like searching the web of info about you, or like analyzing the footage from that meeting and see if you like revealed something through your body language. Like, yeah, I think that point is like very hard to see what the future is like. I think that's probably like 10 years minimum away.
Yeah. What are you most excited about in terms of like some of the upcoming model releases or any products that you're using? Like what's the most exciting thing that you're playing around with right now?
I mean, I would say I'm mostly using the coding stuff, right? Claude Code is great. Codex, I think Codex is more powerful than Claude Code, but Claude Code is better to use. Claude Code is just like, explains it better, uses more clear, better formatted language. But if I had to like solve a deep, difficult bug, I'm giving it to Codex. I mean, actually, I'm giving it to both, and then comparing their plans and stuff like that. But from my experience, Codex is definitely more powerful. Yeah, I'm mostly using the coding tools every single day.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And what do you recommend for people getting started? Like, I know you've kind of, I know you're saying there's too much to experiment, but like regular people?
Yeah, I think it depends. Like, if someone has already some programming experience, they probably should jump into Cursor right away because it's a full IDE. But if people don't even know what an IDE is, then they should probably stick to like the simpler tools, right? Whether it's Lovable, Bold, Create, anything.com. There's a lot of these like vibe coding tools that are just plain English. So I think that's where people can start. And like once they want to continue developing their project, they should move it to an IDE, start using Claude Code. A lot of people are scared of the terminal, which is where Claude Code runs and, Codex CLI runs. But if you are able to go through that mental hurdle and, not be scared of the terminal, I think Claude Code is great. Like you type it in plain English and can do anything.
And it feels like Cursor is kind of the big one. Is that seem like the dominant
Cursor is like a full suite
IDE?
Of products, right? Yeah, Cursor is the IDE, so it's built on top of VS Code. It's a fork of VS Code. So it has all the same features as VS Code, which is the code editor from Microsoft, one of the most used, and it's open source, so that's why people can fork it. But it's one of the most used IDEs in the world, and it has everything a developer needs, basically. And Cursor just forked that and built on top of that, adding lots of AI features. First, they added the autocomplete. So you type and it predicts what you're about to type, whether you start a new function and it finishes it, right? Super useful. This is actually something that every developer should use, no matter, like even the ones that are like anti-AI, there is zero argument for not using Cursor tab, also known as autocomplete, because it's just pure time save. Then the second level was the Command K, where you highlight like a specific block of code and you give it like what to change, and it changes that. And then the third level is the Cursor agent, which is like you just type it and it can change any files. It can analyze your whole code base, stuff like that. Now the next pivot is like the background agents. But we'll see. Like right now, I think Codex has the most successful one. But more companies like Devin, from Cognition, Cursor has their own background agents. More companies are trying to do that.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because you have a lot of experience with this. So I feel like just listening to what you're saying, kind of my own experience, maybe the best way to push brand new people is straight to Cursor. Because number one, like you said, it's built on VS Code. VS Code is open source and everybody's building their stuff on top of it. Because the Google Firebase, they build on top of VS Code. Windsurf is VS Code, plus Chatbot. Yeah. All the other ones seem like they're very, very similar. And like you said, some people are, initially there's some hesitations about working with the command line interface. In Cursor, you do kind of play around with it because it's there. You have to interact with it a little bit, but it's also not the main driver. The main driver is you just talking to the chatbot. So from that perspective, maybe if somebody wants to get started, doesn't know too much, maybe just saying start with Cursor, that might be the first and easiest step, right? The fastest step, just get learning. Would you agree with that?
Sure. I mean, if that person is competent, then yeah. If that person is like very beginner, like someone who like, we all know those people. I usually like categorize them as they spend more time on their phone than a computer. Like if you know some of these people that don't even have a computer, right? And they just like only have a phone. I was like, I don't know how those people exist, but those people, I would not recommend them Cursor because they cannot even use it. I would just recommend something simpler, right? Whether it's V0, whether it's Bold, Lovable, something like that.
Okay, that I haven't tried those, so I guess there's probably stuff that's easier.
Yeah, those are like the vibe coding tools. Those are like complete vibe coding. You never look at the code. It's just like full vibes.
Yeah, actually, can you just name what the landscape looks like right now? Like just the companies that are doing things?
Yeah, so there's a lot of companies actually. It's funny because it feels like everybody's building the same thing. So, there is I think the first really popular one was Bold.new. Then we see V0 from Vercel. Then Lovable had crazy growth. That's a company from Europe, actually. They have the fastest 1 to 1 million growth of all companies of all time. Then there is Emergent, which is great as well. There is anything.com, also known as Create Anything. A lot of these vibe coding apps. Some of them specialize for like mobile apps, for example, Roark, R-O-R-K, specializing just for mobile app development. But the field is getting crazy competitive.
Yeah, everybody's kind of going after, this particular field. Even the big companies are all building their own versions of it, which is super interesting. So who do you think is going to win the coding model landscape? Is it OpenAI? Do you think Grok has a shot? It's been very competitive, but a little bit clunky. I mean, Anthropic has been, they're all good in their own ways, I guess.
I mean, actually, I was surprised today. I've seen the chart where Grok code fast. So this is the latest model from Grok. Is the most used on OpenRouter.
Yeah.
So I was shocked by that. I didn't know it was so popular. But
bigger than all the other ones combined, right?
Yeah,
I think
like
it's over
1.1 trillion per week or something crazy. Crazy amount of tokens. Because it's like a smaller, faster coding model. So it's not as powerful as like Opus 4.1 or GPT-5 High, but it's like very efficient, right? So a lot of people still care about cost, right? Like I have all the $200 a month subscriptions, so I don't really care. But a lot of people do care about cost, so that's where the Grok code fast model is. I mean, Grok, Anthropic, and OpenAI are the main players for sure. I think Google with Gemini 3, which is coming soon, could be interesting. I definitely wouldn't, put Google out of the race. But honestly, like stuff is changing so fast. Like whatever I can recommend right now, I think in a month my AI stack will be very different. So that's the tricky part, like things are changing so fast. Like one company has a great model this month, next month it's completely different.
What about
Exactly.
talking to images? Like, I mean, it seems like no matter what you code, you still have to build a UI. And like you did your Nano Banana video, like, do any
Yeah.
of them talk, or does a human always have to do the artwork and then tell it like, now put this PNG here, and then nobody knows how to like glue the two together with just automation?
I mean, there is MCP, like the Playwright Ace MCP, where the models can literally take screenshots of the website, they can see the console, they can do the whole front-end development and debugging. So I think they can do it all. Like, especially front-end. I've seen, this is a trend, by the way, I've seen this recently, vibe-coded front-end and like handcrafted back-end. A lot of people are really going with this, where like the authentication, the core business logic, the security, the database, the architecture, all of that should be human-made, very carefully thought of. But in the front-end, you can just full send it with AI.
Yeah, and I'm seeing some offerings, some services too, that startups where they do that. They allow people to create their front end apps and websites and whatever, and then part of the service that the company provides is kind of like the back end, all the security, all the authentication, all of that stuff. That's
Yeah,
because
Python.
there's gonna be a lot more people building stuff, but they're not gonna be able to. They shouldn't be touching the back end unless they have developers or they're developers themselves. And yeah, this thing that you mentioned, like the playwright and various different approaches where the LLM needs to look at the website and actually like troubleshoot, or if it's building a game, actually look at the game just like you and I would
Yeah.
for screenshots or video. That seems to be like a big bottleneck, stumbling block, whatever you want to call it. Because man, that's where they kind of suck, like with the vision stuff like that. Because I feel like that's the final piece. If you add that, then they can just like recursively kind of look at what they're doing and try to fix it. That would be kind of the thing, next big leap, I feel like.
But it's the same thing as like, it's taste, you know? And the LLMs don't have any taste. It's the same thing as like writing an email. Obviously, the models can write an email, but they cannot write a great cold email. Because everybody will know like this is AI written, like it just feels weird, you know? They like do the long dashes, they like over compliment or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's the same with the front end, right? Like to your point, Dylan, they can definitely create the code. They can definitely write the front end. But if you can like use Claude Code to generate 10 different front ends. But the real skill, or like 100, right? Why not? But the real skill is like knowing which of these 100 is good.
Yeah.
That is the real skill. Same with YouTube. You can have the models generate 1,000 title variations, right? But I don't use AI for titles. But why? Because it has no taste, right? Like I've made hundreds of videos, if not thousands at this point, myself. I know what a great title looks like. I've studied like successful YouTubers. I just have this taste, and I just have this good judgment. The models don't have good judgment. They can easily give you 100 variations, but the tricky part, the difficult part is knowing which of them are bad and which are good.
Yeah, so it's funny you say it, just because I know Wes, through all these podcasts, just keeps bringing that up. He's like, taste. It's all about taste. Taste is the future. That's what we need
It
as
is.
humans to see. So I feel like you hit his talking point without knowing it.
Well, I mean, that's,
Yeah.
I guess, my advice to people. Like, try to develop your taste. And if people are, not willing to, like, if assuming they're building a startup or whatever, if you're not willing to go deep into the code and really understand how it works, you're not going to develop a good taste, So that's what it requires. And I think whatever domain people choose to pursue, trying to really refine their judgment and, test their beliefs, like, if you're not wrong, like 20, 30% of the time, you're probably not pushing enough with your idea. So yeah, developing taste, that's the future for sure.
Absolutely. Well, look, thank you so much for doing this interview. I think you're definitely going places. I expect you to just,
Appreciate it.
I expect you to keep climbing and just hitting new highs, because you're definitely, just how you see the world, how like you're staying hungry no matter what level you get to. That's a beautiful thing to see. I guess, as any last thoughts you want to tell people about kind of where the world is going or what they should be focusing on, and also where can people find you? Where can they test out all of your offerings, and just anything else that you want to say?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel is David Ondrej. I would say test out vectal.ai. It's a task management tool. So if people are using Notion to do this, I would say give it an honest shot. It's not perfect, but I think if people appreciate being on the cutting edge of AI and trying to use the latest and greatest AI tools that save the most time, I think they're going to like Vectal. In terms of my final message, I would say what people are doing, they should really try to do the hard decision and look into the future. Like, it's very difficult, right? But a lot of people are just like either in college for jobs that might not even exist, or they're in careers that are going to be replaced very soon. like try to look at, be realistic, remove your ego. Like if you spend 15 years in a career, it's very hard to see like, oh shit, this is going to be replaced. But you know, reality doesn't really care about that. The universe doesn't care about your ego. So try to see where the world is headed, learn about the different trends, listen to all kinds of different voices and podcasts, and really like try to prepare yourself for the future, whether it is financially, whether it is educational wise, whether it is like technology wise, or, you know, what connections you have, because a lot of people are avoiding doing a bit of discomfort today for a lot of discomfort in the future. You know, again, there is going to be some job replacement, there's going to be some job creation, but a lot of people are avoiding all the discomfort, and then they're going to have like a big wave of discomfort where their entire industry is replaced or something happens, right? So I would say like try to do what I did, where it's like you know, maybe lessen your income, or, you know, move to a different city or whatever. You make a hard decision today for not having to like have a complete, you know, big shock in the future.
Absolutely agreed.
All right.
I think those are great words to live by now as we head into this exciting but a little bit scary future. So thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
We'll leave all the links down below. Check out the channel, check out the product. We'll have all the links so you guys can visit it. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you in the next one.